Hey, what's up? My name's Jayha and I've been living in an apartment for about 10 months, and here are 5 things to look out for, which I didn't really consider before I moved into an apartment. Number 1, creaky floors. If there's a creaky floor in the apartment, chances are the apartment above also has creaky floors, and if you can hear the creaking, depending on who lives above you, this can be super annoying. Noisy neighbors, thin walls. While it might be hard to tell whether the neighbors are noisy or if there are thin walls from a short apartment viewing, it may be worth asking the viewing agent whether or not there have been any noise complaints in the past from the apartment, and possibly flagging it as a reason to exit the contract sooner should the noise become problematic. Another thing you could do is check the apartment floor mapping. For example, this apartment has an apartment right next to it, and their door is right next to my door. And if you look at the floor mapping, you could actually see that their kitchen is right behind the wall of my kitchen, and their TV is also right behind the wall of my TV. And so if they're being loud in the kitchen, or if they've got their TV loud, I can actually hear it through the walls, and that's not great. Number 3. This one is kind of in relation to the first two, but see what kind of power your property manager has. For example, are they also in charge of the neighboring apartments? Because if they aren't and you have a complaint about the neighbors, there's really not a lot that they can do. And for example, if you had a noise complaint, from my experience, the building manager will only get involved if there's a formal noise complaint that's been filed. And I found this out the hard way because I have some clompers in the apartment above, which is super annoying, and they just haven't really been able to help me. So in that regard, I think having as short a term as possible in the apartment and then having it roll on, I think is the best strategy, because you never really know what kind of place you're walking into when you move into a new apartment. Number 4, glitching elevator. So when I first moved into the apartment, I noticed the elevator was quite slow and it would stop halfway once before closing. And after I moved into the apartments, eventually it got so bad that it would stop multiple times before closing. Then finally, it got to the point where it needed repairs and the elevator was out of commission for a few weeks. Luckily for me, I'm only on the 3rd floor, and so walking up and down the stairs was not a problem. However, if it happened during a time perhaps where I was needing to move and I needed to move heavy things up and down, it certainly could have been more of an inconvenience than it was. Number 5, heat. If you prefer a cooler apartment like I do, try to look for an apartment with windows facing the east. This will capture the sun in the morning and be warm in the morning and be a little bit cooler in the evening. Also try to look for an apartment with a heat pump already installed, as it can get quite hot in summer, and if you're working from home, you'll be missing out on the office AC. Also, for example, this apartment doesn't have great windows for a portable aircon. One of the windows is limited in how much it can open, and the other one is a sliding door, both of which don't really work great with a portable aircon exhaust. And those are 5 things to look out for when moving into an apartment. 5 things that I didn't really consider or realize the nuances of, having not lived in an apartment before. Let me know if there's anything that stood out to you, or if you've noticed anything in your apartment. I'll probably be moving places in a few months, and I'll definitely be looking out for these points. And yeah, thanks for watching.